All right, what's going on, man? I think I got pretty much everything I need in this beat. I'm gonna go ahead and break it down. Like I said, I'm arranging and I'm doing all the mixing, everything in the software. So here we go. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm basically copying this whole sequence, and I'm gonna copy it into an intro, a hook, verse, and an outro, and then I'll adjust later as needed. And really you can kind of arrange it in the same way that you would in the MPC 3 on standalone using track edit right here. But the way it's set up, it's easier for me to break them down in different sequences and take out what I need. But I could just double this sequence 100 something bars and then work on, what I'm saying, a section at a time. But I'm gonna break it down in the different sequences and then break down what I want to break down in those individual sequences and then put them all together in song mode. But you can just use this track edit. A lot of people, I don't see anybody on YouTube really talking about it, but you can double your sequence all the way out to excuse me, to however long you want your song to be, and just simply edit your MIDI. You can highlight, you know what I'm saying? You can actually drag your MIDI around like we kind of want in the MPC and standalone and 3.0. You can do all that. You can delete, edit. They got all kind of tools here. So you can essentially edit everything on one sequence in a linear fashion right here in track edit. But in my opinion, is easier to break it down to sequences first and then go and dig in, take out or add what you want to add to it. So that's what we got going here. And now that we have all of our sequences broken down, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna kind of listen to it and see like what I want to take out. We're dealing with the intro right now, so see what I want to take out. So we're gonna take out all these drums first. Yeah, I kind of like this. Um, oh, you know what? I'm gonna double link this. Um, there we go. So And so one thing to be mindful of, I just press mute right here just so I can kind of hear it without the drums, without deleting things. But MIDI, what I find for me is if I rather like just delete the MIDI off of a separate sequence because it'll mess you up later down. You know what I'm saying? When you're trying to operate in another sequence that you made, like, I'm working in the intro, and then if I go later on and work in the verse, pressing the mutes here, sometimes it can mess you up. Sometimes it works good, sometimes it doesn't. You know, like I say, it's not as good as, working in your traditional DAW, but I feel like to me personally, this is just me personally because everybody has their own workflow, but I feel like I'm saving time when I can actually do everything inside the MPC instead of making a little 8-bar loop, breaking it down, transferring it to another DAW, and then working. And, plus I have all my MIDI right here, so I can take and add, you know what I'm saying, as it goes. But that's just me, you know what I'm saying? They got a lot of people who do things, different, and that's cool, you know what I'm saying? But this is just my way of working. I'm gonna go ahead and throw my beat tag on it while I'm here. Make a little audio track and then just drag it on a playlist like you would do any other DAW. Like the MPC is not complicated. Sometimes you just gotta jump in it and really learn it. I really need to make me like a little preset for it, but I like using air delay and then coming down here and using the follow me preset and turning the feedback down a little bit. Still a little loud. Let me turn the mix down. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. And I'm gonna let that intro kind of work its way into the hook. Tip is to change your time correct when you're editing. At least for me, is easier for me to change it to a bar. Just depending on like what you're trying to, how accurate you're trying to be. Like, if you just doing some simple little cuts, a bar will do, And you can use that for track beats too. Show you another method that I'll use too, the split tool, just like any other DAW. And when you got to set the bar, it's gonna line up perfectly. You split it and then you mute the section that you want. This is when you're working with audio. I have a bunch of audio tracks because a lot of these sounds you hear come from my Roland Phantom. And that's why you see a bunch of these MIDI tracks up here muted, because I've created the MIDI and then I recorded them in to audio tracks. And what I like about working with audio tracks is you can do a lot of mutes and, just like that, similar to another DAW. But yeah, let's move on. So let's kind of hear what we got from the top. Got our little intro going. Excuse me. And now we're going into the verse. So a lot of times, like when I'm cooking, like on my own, I try not to put too much thought of the structure of the beat. Is, usually intro, kind of like a pre-hook, verse, hook, outro. And I normally do 12 bar verses, you know what I'm saying? Unless I'm like creating for somebody and they specifically say, hey, look, I want 16s or I want this or I want that. But if I'm just making beats, I know I'm about to just post them for sale, or I'm just doing them just to do them, just to enhance my workflow so I can make a beat and move on to the next. That's how I lay my beats out. So what I'm going to do here is, man, I need to get a little overhead shot too, but I'm going to double the length of my bars until it says 32. Oop, I went too far. Then I'm gonna go up here and click and I'm gonna make it 24. So what that does is that makes it have 12 bars. because I'm working at a BPM of 154, which is double time. So it essentially is whatever's half of that. I don't feel like thinking right now, but yeah. So you would have to think of your bars in double. You know what I'm saying? Instead of actually setting it to 12, you set it to 24 if you're working in double time. All right, so we're in our verse right now, and let's see. Basically, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna play the takeaway game, you know. We're gonna take stuff out. I'm taking out this roll right here out of the kick in the 808. And I might just add like a little change up right there, because I don't want that section to keep repeating, you know what I'm saying, sounding more and more like just a loop, you know. And I kind of need to do the same thing for that snare, that little secondary snare I got right there. Something simple like that. Like, was it on? Oh no, I'm tripping. You know, I edit with the bar, but I forget if you're gonna add more MIDI to it, you know, you can either turn your time correct off or put it back to 8 or 16, whichever, you know, you're more comfortable with. So I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna copy that to the 808 so they kind of fall together. And I just gotta do the right note right there. And like I said, I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm just taking out that kick on the second part of the verse, and I'm gonna leave it out. I'm gonna take some of these snares out, and you know, I could really get technical with this, you know, but I'll be keeping things simple sometimes. Where's that little stab at? I want to leave that out until the third part of the verse. And nothing is really wrong with, you know, making your beat repetitive, you know, but I believe in, you know, music is dynamic, you know what I'm saying? Like, your ears kind of get tired of hearing the same thing over and over again, you know? So I try to do little minor changes to kind of, you know, tickle your ear in a sense. See, like right here, I'm gonna take them hats out. What's this? Oh yeah, I need to delete that because I wasn't doing nothing with that. I forgot about it. Okay, back to that little section I was at. See, sometimes something as little as taking out some hats in a certain spot, you know, will be just a nice little subtle change, but it works. I'm just leave the stab in just for the hook. Okay, and take them hats out at the end, but I'm gonna leave them other drums. I think that's good for a verse. And we're gonna let it run into the hook. Matter of fact, let me start it right here. Let it run into the hook from here. And the second part of the hook. And back into the verse. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this whole sequence, and I'm gonna call it verse 2. And I'm not gonna make a whole lot of changes to it, but a lot of times when I'm making beats, I like to make the second verse kind of come in a little different. You know what I'm saying? You know, I might take some elements out. Yeah, I might even add some sometimes, but we're going to start off by taking some of these hats out. Take this snare out, and I'm going to take these kicks out. I'm going to leave just the 808. Like a little kick roll going back into the drums. Maybe not that many, but just it. Making sure all my little notes on the same roll. Making sure I'm only affecting the kick velocity when I do this. And let me add another little. Oh, that's why. That roll's a little too long, so I'm gonna there's a shortcut for me. Let's see, just press S. Okay, yeah. Bam. That's it. I like that. So that's the second verse. I didn't want to do anything crazy to it. and bam. So now we are on the outro. We pretty much done. So I'm taking all these drums out. I'm highlighting them here. You can either bring this tool up and cut it like that, or you can just press the delete button on your on your keyboard. Take the 808s out. This is a tube bill. I'm gonna leave that in, and the rest of this is just MIDI. And this is my little ARP. I like my little ARP. So I didn't like what I did with that first part of that guitar. The wrong track. Always label your tracks. I was being lazy. Normally I name all of them, but I ain't feel like doing it this time. And then what I'll do is I'll extend it a few bars just to kind of let it ring out. The shortcut, much like FL Studio, but it's a different button. If you hold Alt and press your MIDI, it's gonna automatically, copy and drag. Bam, that's a beat, man. To me, that's perfect. All I gotta do is kind of clean up the mix a little bit, and man, we good. Let me drop this back down to like 10 bars. Yeah. So, once you got your sequences how you want to, you just go in song mode, press the record button, and lay it out how you had it in your head. That's it. And make sure you unrecord, you know what I'm saying, whenever you go to play it back. And that's it, man. That's pretty much how, me personally, how I break stuff down when I'm working in the MPC software. You may do it different, somebody else may do it different, but that is what works for me. You know what I'm saying? And I hopefully, you gain some tips from me and it helps you in your production as well.